Here are all the problems America has in one TikTok video. And it's going to take 4 or 5 minutes to explain, so get comfortable. And there's an in-depth article today on this, as well as a week's worth of articles at culturalperspective.com. So we all know America is fractured at the deepest cultural level. America's divide isn't about politics, it's about culture, and it shows up in its politics. And 5 cultural rifts are dividing the fall of this once great country. Culture wars over law, responsibility, success, change, and freedom. And they've all come together, creating 2 distinct cultures. 2 distinct countries? Maybe. It starts with rules. Half of America believes that the law applies to everyone. This is how America has operated, at least in belief, since its founding. The other half believes laws depend on how much money you make, the color of your skin, how powerful you are. Those with the right skin color, enough money, and power are above the law. This is the cultural dimension of universalism versus particularism. And this leads into the cultural clash of responsibility, individualism versus collectivism. Radical individualism says, you're on your own. My rights are more important than your rights. I don't need to take any consideration about what I do in terms of how it affects others. It's your fault if you're poor. It's your fault if you can't afford healthcare because you chose the wrong job. It is the zero-sum win-lose mentality. Collectivism says we do have a responsibility beyond ourselves, responsibilities to how our actions affect others, that together we build stronger, better communities and a stronger nation. It's the rising tide lifts all ships mentality. And that determines the cultural perspective about success. One side sees success about how much money you make, the size of your house, the type of car you drive, your position and title, how many hours you work in the week, and the longer the better. The other cultural perspective sees success as quality of life. How much time do you spend with your family? Being able to enjoy long leisurely meals, having abundant free time to pursue hobbies and interests, and quality time with friends. This is the cultural dimension of achievement versus nurturance. Perhaps the most damaging cultural divide of all, the cultural perspective that different is dangerous or different is desirable. For some, anything or anyone that is different is a threat to be eliminated in order to hold the nation together. For others, difference is strength. Diversity is what built America. Difference is what kept America as a world leader. And progress is what will keep America on top. This is the cultural dimension Hofstede called uncertainty avoidance. And much of this leads to how different sides feel about how life should be lived. Half of the population looks to the past as a guide to how everyone should live. There is a clear and singular way people must act, and it's based on tradition. It locks people in the past. The other half believes in America's long history of self-determination. As Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence stated, these truths are self-evident, that people have the unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's the freedom to determine your own future and not be told how to live by tradition or by the government. This is the cultural dimension of tradition versus self-direction. So you have a cultural divide, which has become a political divide, with Republicans who value laws that favor one group but discriminate against another, believe individual rights are more important than a stable, cohesive working society, value material wealth above all else, more important than family, friends, and even personal health, fear and eliminate anything or anyone who is different from them, and demand that everyone live by traditional values set by the government, and Democrats who value the rule of law. All people should be treated equally. Individual rights need to be taken into consideration in how they affect others. They value quality of life, family, friends, and personal health, embrace differences, progress, and moving the nation forward. Feel each person has the right to decide their own future. There's a lot here, but I'd like to get your opinion about it. Let me know what you think in the comments.